Number 29, Walt Frazier.
He is, of course, also the best-dressed man in sports broadcasting, yours truly notwithstanding. He is 4-time first-team All-NBA, 2-time second-team All-NBA, 7-time All-Defense, and 1 top 5 MVP finish. So that right there is a very good resume. That is not enough to get you inside the top 30 without some bananas postseason results. Luckily for Walt Frazier, he has exactly that. Some amazing postseason results, including, one could argue, the greatest Game 7 in NBA playoff history. So he's a 2-time champion and a 3-time finalist. 5 straight years, he took the New York Knicks to the conference finals or further. His career in the playoffs is 21, 6, and 7. And keep in mind, he's doing that while being one of the best defensive guards of his era. That's the 7-time All-Defense. So any of his offensive numbers you have to combine to the fact he was an all-time great perimeter defender. But where he really made his name, if you will, was not just delivering the Knicks their first championship, but the way in which he delivered it. The 1970 finals, Game 5, critical game, it's 2-2. He has 21, 7, and 12. And then everyone remembers the Willis Reed game. Willis Reed, for those folks that don't remember, and DeMonte is going to ask me a Walt Frazier question here in a moment. You're probably not familiar with the Willis Reed story. Willis Reed was arguably the best player on these Knicks. And Willis Reed had suffered an injury in the series, and they didn't think he was going to play Game 7. And then he comes out for Game 7, makes the first 2 baskets of the game, and it set the tenor for the entire game. What people don't remember about that game is those were the only 2 baskets Willis Reed made. So why did the Knicks end up winning the championship? Why did they end up beating, in that series, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and Wilt Chamberlain, a great Lakers team? Because in that Game 7, Walt Frazier had 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 19 assists. 36, 7, and 19 in a Game 7 of the finals against 3 guys who, if this list wasn't the last 50 years, but was all-time NBA history, West, Baylor, and Chamberlain, those are 3 of the 30 greatest players ever. And in West and Wilt, 2 of the 10 or 12 greatest players ever. He did that with no Willis Reed. Then makes the finals in 1972, goes 31, 7, and 2 in a Game 5 loss. For the series, averages 23, 8, and 8, are nearly 60% shooting, making the finals without Willis Reed, but lost to the Lakers. That Lakers team, by the way, some would argue is the greatest team ever. The 72 Lakers. They had a 33-game winning streak during that season, and they beat Kareem, young Kareem, but that was almost apex Kareem, to get to the finals. And the fact that Knicks team didn't get swept by that Lakers team is a testament to Walt Frazier. And then the very next year, wins another title, but the real toughest test was the conference finals against Boston. He's 37, 9, and 4 in Game 4 of that series in 57 minutes. 57 minutes. Double overtime game, sat 1 minute to go up 3-1 in the series. Played 57 minutes, gave you 37, 9, and 4. Then 25, 10, and 7 in Game 7. Over the final 4 games of that series, he averaged 49 minutes per game. Final 4 games of the NBA, or final 5 games, of the NBA Finals for the series averaged 26, 7, and 6. So listen, Willis Reed, that was in the conference finals. They ended up winning the championship. In the finals, he's good, but not great. I thought he got absolutely screwed out of finals MVP in 1970. I thought the Game 7 alone should have gotten it for him. They gave it to Willis Reed. But the 36, 7, and 19, it's the greatest Game 7 performance with respect to James Worthy, with respect to LeBron James. It's the greatest Game 7 performance in NBA Finals history. He is the 29th greatest player of the last 50 years. DeMonte, what's your question?
This is a perfect example of a guy that you respect way too much, all because he won a title.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, he was great, but was he better than the glove? Peyton did everything he did, but just longer. And he never got to the championship because there was this guy named Michael Jordan over there. And like, I think he might be so high on the list just because he simply won titles with the Knicks.
Okay. So listen, maybe some people overrate titles with the Knicks. I'm not one of those people. Gary Payton is a good comp because Gary Payton was an amazing two-way guard as well. But yes, it is because he has the titles and Gary doesn't. If Gary Payton repeatedly got to the NBA Finals and got denied by Jordan, so be it. But Gary Payton was getting denied by Karl Malone. He was getting denied by Hakeem. He only got to the finals one time. Walt Frazier got there 3 times, won 2 titles. I'm very comfortable with him being ahead of Gary Payton. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.